It is 8:30 p.m. and it is week number 4. And I told you the quarters will move pretty fast. And this is the week that I wanted to give you some details about writing an assignment that you use APA format. And I mentioned that early on. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Right off the bat, reminder that you are required to conduct research for this week's written assignment hostage. That means the sole source of your papers cannot be the textbooks, and you will lose 2 points for failure to conduct research. For the hostage assignment, there must include APA citations in the body and references at the end and a cover sheet. So, and I have given the criteria for your written assignments, and you want to make sure you check those rubrics as well. And then, of course, we have 3 more lectures after this, week 6, week 8, and week 10. We didn't have one last week because I had a death in the family for week number, well, we don't have one anyway, but we didn't have a week 2 lecture. So, so anyway, we're on schedule here with week 4. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. Jill, I'm in my lecture. Stop. Okay, so let's go on and let's look at the announcement for the week. Special communication challenges in criminal justice. This is the one where we will have a recording at the end, and I will try to, hopefully you'll be able to hear it, but I'm going to play the tape, and we'll get there. Anyway, your reading is chapter 5 and 12 of written and oral interpersonal communication, and reported in writing, section 3. Also, communication barriers in police work and hostage negotiations. Also pay attention to the video at the end, Spanish law enforcement commands. And then the discussion assignment. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. You've been doing pretty good with that. Your reply posts are due by Saturday, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then finally, your written assignment hostage and your writing skills quiz. Also, be sure to complete your mid-quarter survey, and please take a look at that as well. Okay, so let's look at our course calendar real quick before we get into the module. So it gives the assignments that I gave, your reading, your initial post, the lecture, your reply post. Then it talks about your written assignment, your skills, and then it says J122 project introduction field notes. That is actually not this week. That is actually next week. Oh, okay. The assignments for this week CJ writing and written assignment. Let me make sure, look at that. Okay. And then your written assignment, hostage. Okay. Project scenario. Okay, I think that goes in. Let's see, I'm trying to see. Somehow or another, this is wrong. Week 5. First of all, number 1, let me get this out all day. Let's save that. And then your writing skills is all day. Save that. And then your project. Okay. So actually, revisions to your field notes don't come near. Okay. That's going to be the 29th. And actually, your CJ project belongs here. And then this one, oops, bear with me while I fix this. November. Okay, so your written assignment, your skills quiz, and then here we go. Yeah, okay. Bear with me there. So anyway, the bottom line is that I just fixed all of that. So your assignments for this week are this and this, and then do Sunday is your skills quiz, and then your written assignment. The following week is going to be when you're going to be week 5. See, because this is week 1, 2, 3. This is 4, and then this is week 5. Okay, I fixed it. All right, so now your calendar is straight, so you won't be confused. All right, so now let's get right into the assignment itself. Okay. So your discussion post, sorry I don't speak Spanish, and then hostage. It's a 1 to 2 page report. Make sure you run your papers through Grammarly. And you're going to choose one of these, a mentally disturbed. A hostage is either mentally disturbed or criminal, either one. And then you want to deal with, choose escalation or de-escalation. Focus on 1 or 2 of these. Conduct research, all right? And then make sure then you submit the paper by Sunday. And then your writing skills quiz that you're familiar with as well. Those are your assignments for that week. Now let's go back. Lesson contents. Okay, so again, we deal with these issues, the reading, and then we deal with the these 2 we're going to cover, these 3 we're going to cover in discussion tonight. And then, of course, try to take your mid-quarter survey as well. So let's talk about communication barriers. In communication, as you have already discovered and will continue to discover, communication is critical in all aspects of working, but especially in criminal justice. And if you take, for example, a look at this scenario here about this correction officer at intake, and this person is asked to take a seat and does not oblige you. So there are a number of questions that you need to be prepared to ask yourself to deal properly in this scenario. One of the first is to evaluate why that person did not comply. Now, often, unfortunately, many jump to the conclusion that the inmate is being obstinate and that person is resisting and upset and won't do it. But that may not be the case. But even if it is, you still need to be patient with it, and you need to take steps to make sure that you connect with that individual, and you need to not do something that escalates the situation, create the circumstances to make it where your job is more difficult, but you need to instead work on possible de-escalation. Do something that will not cause the party to go up, but instead to remain at the situation or go down. So then the question you ask yourself is, maybe there is a communication barrier. The person does not understand what you're trying to say. Maybe there's a language barrier. Or maybe, as a few barriers we talk about that come to mind, the person may be a deaf mute and cannot hear, and you may not know that. So you have to be aware that all those are possibilities. May not speak the same language. They may not understand the language that you said it in. Or they may be mentally disturbed or disabled, and you have to be able to be prepared as a professional to deal with them in a special fashion. Or under the influence. The fact of the matter is that there are many variables that can come into play that create barriers in communication that you have to take into consideration. But above all, during that time, as it says here, you must remain calm and sensitive to the best way to communicate with the person. And you are the professional, and so you should be able to take the opportunity to be able to reach that person at the position they're in and connect with them and be able to get them to do what you're wanting to do. Sometimes people will try to force the person into sitting down. Well, that might create more escalation than de-escalation. So it continues on here in considering those things I've mentioned thus far. If the person doesn't speak a common language, then you can try to determine what language it is. Seek out a fellow officer, someone or coworker who can help possibly interpret. If you are in the field, most officers rely on family members, neighbors, and so on to assist in interpretation. I have a lot of trouble in that family members or neighbors to assist in interpretation, particularly in a situation where you're trying to deal with someone who may be considered a suspect, or there may be some issues there. Because if you don't speak the language, you don't know what they're doing, what they're saying. They could be doing something to keep that person from giving you the truth or explain to you what happened. So I don't particularly like relying on family members or neighbors at the scene. Remember, depending on the circumstances, oftentimes police or law enforcement are not looked at as the friends that's coming. You're looked at as enemies. And the community looks at you as someone that's going to do more harm than help. So you have to keep that in mind with determining who to have to interpret for you. If the inmate is deaf, you can try some other things. I know a little communication, but body language is often very good in those situations. Um, or if you have someone who can sign, conduct signing, that's the ultimate. But sometimes you're in a situation where you don't have that, but you still need to communicate by pointing, using your body, by nodding your head, by shrugging your shoulders, by how your face looks. If you're frowning, you know, you might send out a whole nother message than if you're smiling or your face is pleasant. So you have to deal with those situations there. You don't speak loud to deaf people. I have people all the time think that can help. It doesn't help any. Sometimes they can read your lips if you speak slowly. If the inmate or person is mentally ill under influence, the last thing you want to do is to agitate them. That I already have established that, and so you don't want to go to that level in dealing with those individuals. You want to speak in a calm and a direct manner. Patience is absolutely essential. Use open-ended questions, questions that don't ask for a yes or no response. You want information. Be clear and concise. Don't try to trick. This is not a time to use cross-examination techniques or interrogation techniques. This is informational you're operating on. Avoid complicated directions. And above all, maintain eye contact, because the eyes tell a lot about that person and about yourself. So this is something to consider in these situations. Okay. So now, before we get to the Spanish law enforcement commands, I want to go to the hostage negotiations. In a hostage situation, you will find that this is a very stressful event, obviously, and you'll find it to be one of the most stressful calls that you'll run into. And good communication skills are essential, and you operate the best there. So much to the point that you will discover that there's what we call hostage negotiators that are specialists who have been trained to be able to do that. However, let's make sure that you understand that you still have to maintain the situation as much as you possibly can before those people or parties arrive. So one of the first things is don't fret. And also you're going to receive a lot of training once you begin working in your department or at your correctional facility about these things, because these things occur quite frequently. And you'll be taught the basics, things that will help you, and basically you'll find that there's some common sense things. Then your agency will have policies and procedures that you have to remember to follow from your training. When I was a police officer, we had not only training, but we did role playing. And in those situations, you receive what we call hands-on training, where you're able to simulate those hostage situations and be able to determine what you did and what you did wrong, right, and what you did wrong. And so, again, with the special teams coming, you will be replaced as soon as they arrive. But remember, you know, the situation could become moot. In other words, it can be over with. Either the person has taken their life or taken someone else's life, harmed themselves or harmed someone else seriously. But your goal is to try to keep them from reaching that stage. So briefly, it says in the last paragraph of this, it says, when dealing with a hostage taker, remember to remain calm, same kind of situation we were talking about earlier, and focused on the situation. Make sure that you give the hostage taker your undivided attention and find out what they want, what their needs are, what's going on with them, why are they doing this. Show an interest in what the person is saying, but make sure that you are you let them know, okay, we have to evaluate what you need and want, but don't give false promises. One of the worst things that can happen is to give false promises. That's an absolute positive no. You don't do that. So you're going to discover in your research how to do this when you prepare your written assignment that you have for this week. One of the resources that we have to help you is this FBI website, and when you look at it, you'll be able to find a lot of information and details that will assist you in preparing your written assignment and understanding the best way to deal with hostage takers. So it's going to be a good exercise for you to do this research and then prepare this paper because hostage negotiations is very important. You should know too that in one of the calls that you will receive, and I was involved in many of those, was a domestic call. In domestic calls, sometimes you will find hostage situations, or you'll find things that are akin to hostage situations that take place. And you have to be on high alert. You have to watch everybody. There are times when the person who actually is the victim will be an attacker as well as the person that committed the violence. And we've seen that situation very, very frequently as law enforcement, and we're taught that in our training. So anyway, hostage negotiations are a very special field, special area, and you want to make sure that you become good at that. Okay? So now, I want to say to you that one of the fastest growing populations in the United States of America at the present time is Hispanic. And that it is likely that as a police officer, law enforcement, correction officer, or parole officer, probation officer, prison officer, you're going to run into someone who speaks Spanish. So it is a good thing to learn as much Spanish as you can. I personally am not an expert in Spanish, but I do know and have a working knowledge of Spanish. And so we choose that. I had this added into the module some years ago to deal with one of the major challenges that you're going to run into. And so as a result, I have this almost half-hour video that I'm going to have you to look at, and I'm going to step out, and then you can go ahead and look at it. Now, I'm going to take my headset off because you may be able to hear it better. But if you have problems with feedback and everything, which sometimes they haven't been able to master how to stop that while we're recording, take time to look at this live yourself in your time this week. You will find it very valuable. You'll find it a very valuable tool to help you and something you might want to try to do what you can to save so that you can actually refer to this at a later time. So with that, I'm going to get this going, and then we'll conclude after that.
speak only English, that can be a major problem. America's Hispanic population is growing at an enormous rate and bringing with it a major problem for law enforcement. Hello, I'm Ron Barber. And I'm Don Marsh. That problem is language. Many of our newer Hispanic residents speak little or no English, so if there is a confrontation, it would serve the officer well to know some basic Spanish. That's what this video is designed to do, help you, the officer, better communicate with Spanish-speaking people. One of our guides on this journey is Officer Brandy Walker.
Hi, I'm Officer Brandy Walker with the St. Louis Police Department. You'll find that learning some very simple Spanish commands is one of the easiest things you've ever done. Here we go.
Our first lesson involves some very basic words to get you started. What? What? Where?
¿Dónde?
Where?
¿Dónde?
When?
¿Cuándo?
When?
¿Cuándo?
Why?
¿Por qué?
Why?
¿Por qué?
Wrong.
Incorrecto.
Wrong.
Incorrecto.
Right.
Correcto.
Right.
Correcto. ¿Quién? ¿Qué? ¿Dónde? ¿Cuándo? ¿Por qué? Incorrecto. Correcto.
Gusto Herrera is a veteran teacher of high school and college Spanish. He likes the idea of officers learning the basics.
I think these lessons are very valuable because, first of all, they make the officer very comfortable in dealing with the Hispanic public, and it will make the people comfortable in being approached by an officer that can speak their own language.
So in a sense, this is just as valuable for the public as it would be for the officer himself.
It is so.
Do you have any tricks that you might give those watching this video to help them, assist them in learning the Spanish language and the words that we have here?
I would suggest that they watch the video several times, making the necessary repetitions. Then they can read the printed material and repeat the phrases until they feel comfortable with them. And then especially try them every time they find an opportunity.
Officers are there to help. These words should be helpful in an emergency. Stop.
Alto.
Stop.
Alto.
Police.
Policía.
Police.
Policía.
I'm a police officer.
Soy un policía.
I'm a police officer.
Soy un policía.
I am here to help.
Estoy aquí para ayudar.
I am here to help.
Estoy aquí para ayudar.
Please.
Por favor.
Please.
Por favor.
Write it.
Escríbalo.
Write it.
Escríbalo.
Do you have identification?
¿Tiene usted identificación?
Do you have identification?
¿Tiene usted identificación?
Do you understand?
¿Comprende?
Do you understand?
¿Comprende? Alto. Policía. Soy un policía. Estoy aquí para ayudar. Por favor, escríbalo. ¿Tiene usted identificación? ¿Comprende?
These words should be helpful in an emergency. Help.
Ayuda.
Help.
Ayuda.
Hurt.
Herido.
Hurt.
Herido.
Are you hurt?
¿Está herido?
Are you hurt?
¿Está herido?
Hospital.
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 Ambulance.
Ambulancia.
Ambulance.
Ambulancia.
An ambulance is on the way.
La ambulancia viene.
An ambulance is on the way.
La ambulancia viene.
What happened?
¿Qué pasó?
What happened?
¿Qué pasó?
Now.
Ahora.
Now.
Ahora. Do you need help? ¿Necesita ayuda?
Do you need help?
¿Necesita ayuda?
Are you sick?
¿Está enfermo?
Are you sick?
¿Está enfermo? Ayuda. Herido. ¿Está herido? Hospital. Ambulancia. La ambulancia viene. ¿Qué pasó? Ahora. ¿Necesita ayuda? ¿Está enfermo?
Following words are words of greeting and reassurance.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Buenos días.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes.
Good evening.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Buenas noches.
You.
Usted.
You.
Usted.
Yes.
Sí.
Yes.
Sí.
No.
No. No. No.
Car.
Carro.
Car.
Carro.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Don't worry. car. Salga del carro. Get into the car. Entre al carro. Get into the car. Entre al carro. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Usted. Sí. No. Carro. Gracias. No se preocupe. Cálmese. Salga del carro. Entre al carro. Gathering information is essential. This lesson will help you gather the basics. What is your name? ¿Cómo se llama? What is your name? ¿Cómo se llama? Do you speak English? ¿Habla inglés? Do you speak English? ¿Habla inglés? Write your name. Escriba su nombre. Write your name. Escriba su nombre. Where do you live? ¿Dónde vive? Where do you live? ¿Dónde vive? Write your address. Escriba su dirección. Write your address. Escriba su dirección. Sit down. Siéntese. Sit down. Siéntese. Come here. Venga aquí. Come here. Venga aquí. Turn around. Voltéese. Turn around. Voltéese. You want to make a phone call? ¿Quiere llamar por teléfono? We want to make a telephone call. ¿Quiere llamar por teléfono? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Habla inglés? Escriba su nombre. ¿Dónde vive? Escriba su dirección. Siéntese. Venga aquí. Voltéese. ¿Quiere llamar por teléfono? The traffic stop. So basic command and phrases here. Turn off the motor. Apague el motor. Turn off the motor. Apague el motor. Your driver's license, please. Su licencia, por favor. Your driver's license, please. Su licencia, por favor. Your car registration, please. Su matrícula del carro, por favor. Your car registration, please. Su matrícula del carro, por favor. Wait here. Espere aquí. Wait here. Espere aquí. The insurance card for your car. La tarjeta de seguro para su carro. The insurance card for your car. La tarjeta de seguro para su carro. The insurance card for the hospital.
la tarjeta de seguro para el hospital. The insurance card for the hospital. La tarjeta de seguro para el hospital.
This is a ticket.
Esto es una multa.
This is a ticket.
Esto es una multa. Apague el motor. Su licencia, por favor. Su matrícula del carro, por favor. Espere aquí. La tarjeta de seguro para su carro. La tarjeta de seguro para el hospital. Esto es una multa.
Basic commands here in Lesson 7. If you feel an arrest is probable.
Don't move. No se mueva.
Don't move.
No se mueva.
On the ground, face down.
En el suelo, boca abajo.
On the ground, face down.
En el suelo, boca abajo.
Spread your feet.
Abra sus pies.
Spread your feet.
Abra sus pies.
You are under arrest.
Está arrestado.
You are under arrest.
Está arrestado.
You are not under arrest.
No está arrestado.
You are not under arrest.
No está arrestado.
Let me see your hands.
Déjeme ver sus manos.
Let me see your hands.
Déjeme ver sus manos. No se mueva. En el suelo, boca abajo. Abra sus pies. Está arrestado. No está arrestado. Déjeme ver sus manos.
Lesson 8. Some basics and important questions. Have you had any alcohol to drink today?
¿Ha bebido alcohol hoy?
Have you had any alcohol to drink today?
¿Ha bebido alcohol hoy?
Have you had any alcohol to drink tonight?
¿Ha bebido alcohol esta noche?
Have you had any alcohol to drink tonight?
¿Ha bebido alcohol esta noche?
Have you had any drugs today?
¿Ha usado drogas hoy?
Have you had any drugs today?
¿Ha usado drogas hoy?
Do you have a weapon?
¿Tiene un arma?
Do you have a weapon?
¿Tiene un arma?
Put the weapon on the ground.
Ponga el arma en el suelo.
Put the weapon on the ground.
Ponga el arma en el suelo.
Will you allow me to search your vehicle?
¿Me deja buscar en su carro?
Will you allow me to search your vehicle?
¿Me deja buscar en su carro? ¿Ha bebido alcohol hoy? ¿Ha bebido alcohol esta noche? ¿Ha usado drogas hoy? ¿Tiene un arma? Ponga el arma en el suelo. ¿Me deja buscar en su carro?
Where are you going?
¿A dónde va?
Where are you going?
¿A dónde va?
Where are you coming from?
¿De dónde viene?
Where are you coming from?
¿De dónde viene?
Do you have any weapons or needles?
¿Tiene algún arma o agujas?
Do you have any weapons or needles?
¿Tiene algún arma o agujas?
Are there any weapons or drugs in your vehicle?
¿Hay armas o agujas en su carro?
Are there any weapons or drugs in your vehicle?
¿Hay armas o agujas en su carro?
I need to handcuff you for your protection and mine.
Tengo que ponerle las esposas para su protección y la mía.
I need to handcuff you for your protection and mine.
Tengo que ponerle las esposas para su protección y la mía. ¿A dónde va? ¿De dónde viene? ¿Tiene algún arma o agujas? ¿Hay armas o agujas en su carro? Tengo que ponerle las esposas para su protección y la mía.
Number 10, keywords and phrases to remember.
Stop. Alto. Stop. Alto.
Get out of the car.
Salga del carro.
Get out of the car.
Salga del carro.
Do you speak English?
¿Habla inglés?
Do you speak English?
¿Habla inglés?
What is your name?
¿Cómo se llama?
What is your name?
¿Cómo se llama?
Are you hurt?
¿Está herido?
Are you hurt?
¿Está herido?
Do you need help?
¿Necesita ayuda?
Do you need help?
¿Necesita ayuda? Calm down. Cálmese. Calm down. Cálmese.
Don't worry.
No se preocupe.
Don't worry.
No se preocupe.
Let me see your hands.
Déjeme ver sus manos.
Let me see your hands.
Déjeme ver sus manos.
Wait here.
Espere aquí.
Wait here.
Espere aquí.
You are under arrest.
Está arrestado.
You are under arrest.
Está arrestado.
You are not under arrest.
No está arrestado.
You are not under arrest.
No está arrestado. Alto. Salga del carro. ¿Habla inglés? ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Está herido? ¿Necesita ayuda? Cálmese. No se preocupe. Déjeme ver sus manos. Espere aquí. Está arrestado. No está arrestado.
Practice does make perfect, and that's what learning a new language is all about. Practicing and repetition. Good luck. Do you have any thoughts on learning some simple Spanish commands? Please share them with us. Our email address is
Okay, that's a very good video, and again, I hope that you were able to get the video clear and sound, because I haven't been able to solve the mystery of why it's garbled, but there are some background things, and I did know that when I had my headphones on, I was told that when I play them that you can't hear them at all. So I removed that, so perhaps you'll be able to hear them. If not, I do encourage you to do what I do. Just go and look in that section in the module. It comes up pretty easily, and make sure that you listen to it. But again, like I said, it's a very important piece. It's a good piece, and been beneficial to a number of my students throughout the quarters that I've taught in the past. So don't forget, next week, week 5, you start your next project, your actual first part of your project, your field notes. Make sure that you follow those instructions very carefully. There will not be a lecture next week, and you want to make sure that you get those done appropriately, because depending on how well you do that week 5 project assignment, field notes, you will be able to have a good start on your next assignment in the project, which comes in week 7, I believe it is. And anyway, we'll be talking about that in week 6 when we have our next lecture. So in the meantime, that's all I have for tonight. I'm going to send this archive out to everybody. And again, have a good evening.